All right, teachers, welcome. Today we're going to jump right into mastering opinion writing for your 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. In this explainer, we'll break down a super practical step-by-step approach for teaching a key ELA standard, giving you tools you can use in your classroom like tomorrow.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll really unpack the standard itself. Then, we'll walk through that classic lesson model you all know and love, the I do, we do, you do. And we'll wrap it all up by talking about how to actually assess student mastery. Let's dive in.
Okay, first things first, let's break down the Georgia ELA Standard 3-5.TT3. Because, if we don't really get it, we can't really teach it well. So, as you can see, the official language is pretty dense. But the key thing to notice here is that it's a two-way street. Our students have to be able to analyze how authors use these opinion techniques, and then they have to turn around and apply those exact same techniques in their own writing. It's about being a reader and a writer.
Okay, so what does that actually mean for us in the classroom? Let's put it in simple, teacher-friendly terms. It really all boils down to building a solid argument. Your students need to make a clear point. That's their claim, and then they've got to back it up with good reasons and evidence, using those all-important linking words to glue the whole thing together.
And to build those great arguments, students need the right tools in their toolbox, right? These 6 terms you see here, these are the absolute essentials. We have to teach this vocabulary explicitly so that everyone has a shared language when we're talking about and building these opinion pieces.
All right, now for the I do part. And honestly, this is probably the most crucial part of the entire lesson. This is where you, the expert, make your thinking totally visible and you model the whole writing process from beginning to end. So, to make your modeling really hit home, you've got to start with a topic that every single kid can relate to and have an opinion on. Something like this is perfect. Then, you'll grab a simple graphic organizer to show them how an expert writer, that's you, tackles the prompt.
And here comes the magic, the think aloud. You are literally speaking out loud the thoughts inside a writer's head. You're showing students not just what the final product looks like, but how you actually get there, starting with how you form that all-important claim.
And then, as you're thinking out loud, you fill in that graphic organizer right there in front of the whole class. They get to see you take that thought from your head and put it on paper. It makes the whole process feel so much more concrete and achievable for them.
You just keep that think aloud going. Moving on to the next piece of the puzzle. You're modeling how you brainstorm different reasons, and maybe even more importantly, how you pick a reason that directly connects back to and supports the claim you just made.
And boom, you immediately add that reason right onto the graphic organizer. The students are watching you build this argument piece by logical piece. That visual scaffolding is just so powerful.
Okay, so once you've given them a super clear model, it's time to start releasing some of that responsibility. We're now moving into the we do phase, where our students get to practice these new skills with a little bit of support.
A simple turn and talk is the perfect way to start. You're giving them a really low-stakes chance to practice that very first skill you modeled, stating a clear claim. And the best part is, with partner talk, every single kid in the room is actively engaged. Now, as your students start sharing, you can probably guess the kinds of answers they'll come up with. So be ready to chart both sides of the argument, just like you see here. This is great because it validates everyone's perspective and shows that you can make a strong argument for either side.
Now, this next part is a game changer. Bringing in the idea of audience is a huge step up. You're pushing your students to think beyond just what they believe. Now they have to think strategically, right? Who am I trying to convince, and what reasons are going to work best for them? This is where the writing gets really powerful.
So, after they've had a chance to work with you and with a partner, it's finally time for the you do. This is where students get to take everything they've learned and apply it all by themselves, which shows you what they can really do on their own.
And hey, to make that transition to independent work feel less scary, give them the exact same tool you used in your model, that graphic organizer. That consistency provides a familiar scaffold that really helps build their confidence as they start to plan their own writing.
Keep the task super clear and focused. See, we're not asking for a whole essay yet. The goal here is just to successfully plan out the argument. And while they're working, your job is to be moving around the room, checking in, and giving that targeted feedback right in the moment.
And finally, the big question, how do we know if they're actually getting it? So let's talk about what to look and listen for to figure out if your students are mastering this standard.
Assessment really happens in 2 ways here. You can see mastery in what they write down on their graphic organizer. Is the claim clear? Are the reasons logical? But you can also hear mastery in their conversations. Are they using those linking words? Can they explain why a reason works? You've got to pay attention to both.
Now for students who might need a little extra support, this is a fantastic strategy. You basically give them a finished opinion paragraph, but you've cut it up into sentence strips. Their job is to physically move the pieces around to put the argument back together. It makes the text structure so tangible and hands-on.
And then, right before they walk out the door, an exit ticket like this can give you a really quick and powerful snapshot of their understanding. It tells you immediately which students got that crucial concept of writing for a specific audience, which helps you plan your very next lesson.
So when you boil it all down, this I do, we do, you do model, it just works. It gives students that clear structure and the practice they need to really become confident opinion writers. The only question left is, what's the first topic you're going to use to get your students fired up about this?